Now, let's quickly change topics here. Let's talk about the New York Jets, who win their second in a row, while the Giants right now are falling apart. Obviously, here are 2-8, and of course, all the drama over Brian Dable and Jackson Dart. The Jets right now are the team that once had all the drama, starting to settle things down a little bit as they get a victory against the Browns. And I'll be very frank here. That was an ugly football game. Obviously, the weather notwithstanding, it was an ugly atmosphere, pouring rain all afternoon at MetLife Stadium. But the Jets' offense was terrible, for the most part, in the first half of this game. Keep in mind, because this passing game, again, continues to fail the Jets. Justin Fields struggled, only 6 completions in 11 attempts. The only touchdown that he had, of course, was the dump-off pass to Breece Hall, who took it home himself for 42 yards. Essentially, you take away that Breece Hall touchdown reception and run, Justin Fields threw for only 12 yards the entire game. So again, the passing offense leaves a lot to be desired. Concerns about Garrett Wilson and his knee, as that's going to be evaluated over the next couple of days. The Jets have a quick turnaround to face the Patriots. But what's most important for the Jets in this game is you avoid, I guess you could say, avoid some humiliation by beating the Browns. Losing to the Browns would have been embarrassing for this Jets team. I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to go crazy about saying, hey, look, you got to lose these games to tank for draft picks. I don't care about that. Teams do not tank. Nobody tanks the NFL, okay? Dolphins won yesterday against the Bills. Are they tanking? No. Saints won yesterday in Carolina. Are they tanking? No, and no, neither should the Jets, and nor are the Jets, as they played. It was kind of a weird game because you get the two big returns, the kickoff return and the punt return for touchdowns, as the Jets have a 14-7 lead with only 2 yards of offense in the first quarter, and they try to hold on from there. The defense bends, doesn't break against the Browns. Dillon Gabriel was awful for the Browns. The Browns' offense really couldn't get anything going. Granted, they did run as a team for 158 yards on the Jets' defense, but the Jet pass rush was incredible. 6 sacks of Dillon Gabriel in this game, 4 of which went to Will McDonald, who was an absolute beast. And here are the Jets on the same week in which they trade Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. This defense comes out and steps up and plays a good football game. Now, they still didn't force a turnover, obviously, but to get the 6 sacks and for this pass rush to be as active as it was, and you see guys be very loose. It's kind of like a different kind of atmosphere than we've seen from the Jets earlier in the year, where things were very tight, guys were very tense, and now you're seeing a little more of a loose sideline. You're seeing guys kind of dance around a little bit on the field. Of course, the video earlier this week of Breece Hall driving around in a go-kart in the locker room, and he gets the game ball from Aaron Glenn at the end of this game because he took over. And it's everything about this Jet win is so ironic, because here's Breece Hall a week ago, heck, even 2 weeks ago, we're talking about him being a trade piece and that he isn't happy here and that he wants to be dealt elsewhere. And the Jets decided to keep him. They didn't get the compensation that they wanted from Kansas City, so Breece Hall stays here, and he carries the Jets to a victory, 83 yards on 21 carries. Of course, had that big touchdown catch for 42 yards, and he is now the centerpiece of this team. It's really ironic. And, I feel good for a player like him because he's such a special talent. He is. And the Jets, I'll sound like a broken record, they got to pay this guy. Once you get to the offseason, you got to find a way to keep him. I hate to go through all the dirty business of franchise tags and and all the minutia that gets involved in that as far as the franchise tag is concerned, but the Jets have to come to terms with a long-term deal for him. So for the Jets, a nice win. They win 2 in a row. Wins against the Bengals and the Browns, but now, of course, it's going to get very difficult for them with 2 games on the road. They play the Patriots on Thursday night, and then they get the Ravens after that on the road. So essentially, one would think the Jets are going to lose these next 2 games and be 2-9 at that point. What you want to see from the Jets is you want to see them be competitive. You want to see them go out there and at least give the Patriots a game here on Thursday night. The Patriots, of course, have won 7 in a row. They look like a juggernaut in a very unpredictable AFC this year, an AFC where the Chiefs and the Bills have underperformed. In a year where the Ravens, of course, got off to a very slow start because of Lamar Jackson's injury at the start of the year. The Patriots, the Colts, the Broncos, they have emerged as the top teams in the AFC this year, just coming out of nowhere. It's almost like we went to a time machine and went back 20 years with these three teams at the top of the conference. So it will be a fascinating game in New England. Obviously, a game that the Patriots are going to be heavily favored in. They're a 10.5-point favorite. I don't expect the Jets to win this game in New England, but if they can play competent football, if they can keep the game somewhat close, and give the Patriots a bit of a scare this week, that in and of itself, and I hate to be the one harping on moral victories after saying in week 1 when the Jets lost to the Steelers, saying no such thing as moral victories, but if you can give the Patriots a game, yes, it is, we'll acknowledge, a moral victory in that sense. But the Jets are 2-7. I don't care about draft picks, folks. I know everyone wants to talk about it. The tank-a-thon. Right now, the Jets are slotted in the 5th position. A couple weeks ago, they were the number 1 pick. I know everyone wants to go crazy about Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson. Which one of those guys is going to be potentially the top quarterback selected in the draft? Can the Jets get one of those guys? Essentially, they could if they really are impressed with them. Obviously, Darren Muji and the front office went out to Penn State last week. They watched Indiana take on Penn State and saw that huge comeback by Mendoza and the Hoosiers. But I can't tell you whether or not the Jets are going to take him or not. He looks like a good player. He has the arm. At the same time, didn't play all that great against Penn State. Ty Simpson might have a little more zip on the ball down in Alabama, but if the Jets feel that it's not worth using one of these first-round picks that they have on a quarterback, they could always go out there and trade for one. Whether it be and I know people have been rumoring about Joe Burrow last week. I don't see that happening. Burrow has a contract and has a no-trade clause. And, of course, is a player who has been banged up most of his career. Good player, and certainly why would the Bengals want to get rid of Joe Burrow whenever he plays, they essentially win, and he gives them a chance to be a good football team. I don't know if the Bengals would want to do that. Kyler Murray of the Cardinals, of course, is out on the IR right now. Will be a free agent next year. The Jets want to go that route. I don't know. He's essentially the same thing as Justin Fields, quarterback as a running back. And then there's now Trevor Lawrence. Apparently there's some talk right now with Jacksonville, maybe that the Jaguars could be done with Trevor Lawrence. Maybe he becomes expendable. Maybe the Jets, use one of those draft picks to try to bring him in from the Jaguars. So, however the season plays out, whether the Jets finish with 4 wins, 5 wins, 3 wins, doesn't matter. They're going to have their opportunities with these moves that Darren Muji made to find that next quarterback. But what you want to see from the Jets here in the second half of the year, and I think it started yesterday, really started against the Bengals, is you want to see this team be competitive. You want to see this team play hard for each other and play hard for its coach. And if those things happen, then it sets the groundwork for what you would hope would be better days ahead, hopefully in 2026. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.